Welcome to this week's episode of The Rutledge Perspective. I am so excited, I can't even tell you. We are going to do something that I think not only is going to help me, but I think it's going to help all of you as we have talked about all of these things on The Rutledge Perspective about self-awareness, about self-care, about lifelong learning, and about ensuring that you're taking care of your instrument and taking care of you so that you can serve bigger. And I am doubly excited to have my guest, Mariam Haddad, with me again. Thank you, Mariam.
Thank you, Laurel.
And we've gotten to do this before, but this time Mariam is actually going to do some lessons with me that she does with all of her clients to fix an issue that I'm having with my voice. So I found over time that as I'm talking more and more, my voice actually hurts, and I've never had that happen. And I happened to talk to Mariam about that and said, I think this would be kind of cool to do this over the holidays. And then I have a really great surprise for you at the end. So with that, Mariam, welcome back to The Rutledge Perspective.
Thank you, Laurel. I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited to be with all of you, and I'm excited to be with Laurel.
Yeah.
But I'm especially excited because I love helping people resolve their pain. Mm-hmm. And the voice is something that is very near and dear to my heart.
Yes.
I think it is probably the most amazing instrument on the planet.
I agree.
Because it lives inside of the human body, which makes it an entirely moving target. Okay?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so the interesting thing is that the voice in the end is a barometer of a few systems. Mm-hmm. It is a barometer of our spirit. It is a barometer of our thoughts and what's happening in there. Mm-hmm. And it's also a barometer of our bodies. And so when Laurel came to me and said, Mariam, I don't know what's going on, but my voice hurts.
Yes.
Of course, all of a sudden it was like, all hands on deck. Let's solve this, right? And so we needed to do a little bit of work in order to understand where the root of those problems lie. Mm-hmm. But the first place we looked at was, Laurel, this is a sudden change you haven't experienced before. Could there be a physiological underlying cause, which is where we always need to look first? And so, of course, I was like, radar,
right?
Big voice change, have you checked your thyroid? God forbid that could be a sign of thyroid cancer, which I actually experienced. I had a very sudden massive change, like my voice dropped about an octave and I went, whoa, that's kind of weird, right? And so then I did go to the doctor and it turned out I needed to have treatment right away.
Absolutely.
So Laurel had indicated, no, thank God, all of her thyroid panels came back fine. Everything looks good. And then the next place to look was, well, tell me about your diet.
Right.
Because a lot of times what we eat or consume, especially during times of stress.
Yes.
And we've all been living in really unprecedented times. That seems to be the word that we all hear on the news all the time, unprecedented, right? Yes. And so those stress factors can have a lot to do with what maybe would have been fine. All of a sudden now becomes the little, what is it? The tip that kind of knocked
the iceberg,
over.
right?
The iceberg. I was thinking the iceberg and the needle in the haystack.
The needle in the haystack, the straw that broke the camel's back, all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And so, she's been keeping food journals, eats a plant-based diet. Yep. So we could rule out likely there's not a lot of acid reflux, though there may be some. And just to let you all know, if you're having acid reflux and kind of a dirty, hoarse sounding voice, the first place to look is your diet.
Absolutely.
Because as you sleep and you're laying flat on your bed, that acid washes up over your cords and your vocal cord area, and it can actually cause inflammation. So those cords are not going to vibrate the way that they should. So in Laurel's case, we ruled out anything physiological at this point. I did make a suggestion.
Of course.
Maybe a visit to the ear, nose, and throat. Let's get you scoped just to be on the safe side. Pending that, we then say, okay, likely there's something going on between the spirit, our thoughts, our body. Okay.
And just so you guys know, for those of you who have not listened to the other podcast, which I suggest you do because it's fantabulous, is Mariam is a classically trained and award-winning pianist and singer. So when she approaches her clients and she approaches her business, because she's also the CEO of Performance Communications, it's all about performance. And I never thought about how you speak to people, how you present, how you come into a place with someone as a performance. That just never crossed my mind. And so as I was talking to her, we were initially just saying, I've always wanted to take voice lessons. I just think that'd be really cool. So let me just take voice lessons. And then with the voice kind of pain, I thought, let me talk to Mariam about that. So it's all about making sure you're paying attention and you're aware. And when something doesn't feel right, don't just sit with that. And we have a tendency, especially as women, to just sit with that and say, oh, it'll pass. It'll be fine. Make sure you are paying attention to those things, because not only might it impact your ability to serve others, but there may actually be a real issue that you need to deal with. So with that, we'll start.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yes, the Performance Communication Company has folded in all of those fine arts experiences into training people as literally the instrument of communication. And we've also folded in really other cool paradigms like global business expertise, like cognitive linguistics, like as well as all kinds of delivery techniques. So this lesson comes from our vocal delivery work that we do with people on a speaking level. Yeah. So as I sat with Laurel in a discovery session, and I have to tell you, I'm still analyzing because how we are in a studio or in a relaxed setting, a lot of times there is a difference to how we are in a performance setting. So this is a performance setting, and I'm observing something in you now that just solidified it, just kind of solidified a viewpoint that I had.
Experts. Yes.
And it's really how our body responds to stress, right? So we saw that there were really 3 key components contributing to Laurel's voice hurting. The first of which is not necessarily speaking from inner stillness. And we're going to explore what that means in a minute. The second problem really had 2 legs to it. One is the voice is a machine, really, at the end of the day. So there's engineering that happens. And there's actually an airflow and an air pressure issue, which just got synced here. And then from there, it's a throat tension issue. So sometimes our throats can become tense. And even if we have the right airflow and air pressure, we can siphon that off based on what's happening in our throat. And then from there, it's vocal placement. So I've got my air, it's got to pass through my throat, and it's got to come up, and I've got to sew that airstream through various speech sounds.
Absolutely. In
order for my words to come out and for my voice to function properly. But here's the hard thing. You're dealing with energy. You're dealing with spiritual energy, physical energy, and emotional energy, which is why, especially for the voice and for delivery, we really want to make sure that we create alignment in a certain way that allows our optimal performance. So we're going to look at where is that optimal operating system. Right?
Love it. And isn't this cool?
I'm glad you think so. Yes. Cool. Yeah. And then our third and final issue is about speed and speech clarity. Okay?
Yes.
So 3 different paradigms that all really comprise the whole. We're going to do our best to hit everything. However, they're all really very deep dives. So if we stop to discover something in the moment, I'm here to help Laurel solve that issue. So if we don't get to everything, just flag it, and perhaps you'll call me or sign up for a workshop.
Absolutely.
So are you ready?
I am ready. And please note, guys, you are seeing this real time. So I've never done this before. So you're seeing me go through a session and through training and through assistance live. Well, sort of recorded, but still you're seeing it real time. So I'm really excited about this, and hopefully it'll make a difference for people. And we will have all the information you need for Mariam in the show notes and everything else like we normally do. So you'll be able to get in touch with her.
Awesome. Thank you, Laurel.
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, let's do this.
Okay.
All right. So problem 1 is not speaking from inner stillness. Okay. So let's look at the solution, which is really how do we identify where the optimal operating system is within us, and then train ourselves to be able to speak from there.
Perfect.
Now, I know you've talked to your audiences a lot about this, so hopefully there's a ready context. Okay. So many people, to manage their stress and noisy minds, which gets noisier when we're in performance situation and basically hurls very not nice things at us, all kinds of comments, right? We basically want to learn to operate not from this higher operating system, which is our mind, our rational mind, our thinking mind, but to really come from a deeper operating system of heart, and spiritual intelligence. Okay. And you see that visited in systems and practices like yoga, mindfulness, prayer. Eastern monks, Eastern Orthodox monks do a lot of work around really learning to actually negate all of this noise that's happening in our mind to exist from here. As a performer, while you train things in on a rational level, we perform from this deeper space. And a lot of times how we train is not how we have lined ourselves up to perform. Okay. So we're going to look at something when the I would call it HQ, heart intelligence, is our primary operating system. The mind will be calmer. So Laurel, when we were doing our discovery session, you were mentioning to me a lot of the activity that's happening in your mind, right? And I would say if we could knock out the mindful 2 minutes right at the beginning, it would really help you. So like right now, we're getting ready to start.
Yes.
And it's clear there was, like, I could see tension inside of your whole voice.
Right.
What was happening in your mind?
That's really great. I was thinking about, I want this to look good. I want it to go well. I want to make sure people really understand how powerful this can be. And so I was carrying on, as we've talked about before, about 4 conversations in my mind at the same time.
Right.
And only the last of those 4, the very last one was, this is going to be so nice. I'm just going to be in this moment. I could barely even get to that one because everything else was moving so fast.
Oh, absolutely. So you were purely up here instead of here, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's do a quick visualization exercise. All right. So I want you to imagine that there is a gorgeous river. You're in a beautiful outdoor setting, and there's just a gorgeous river, and you've had the opportunity to just stop and watch what's already in motion. It already exists. It's already moving. It's already flowing. It's already going. And it's so beautiful and compelling the way that it is that you decide to just jump in and move with that flow. So I want you to just see that in your mind's eye for 30 seconds. Just visualize that. Now, as you visualize that, can you feel physiological changes that are happening? Like the body should be relaxing.
Absolutely.
Your thoughts should be calming down. Okay, now from that space, I want you to just keep that in your mind's eye, in your heart's eye. Open your eyes and give us your introduction again.
Welcome to this week's episode of The Rutledge Perspective. I am so excited to be here with you. And I'm even more excited because what we're going to share is not only something that's going to help me physically, but it's going to be something that I think is going to help all of you because it ties into those things we've been talking about. Awesome. Self-awareness, spiritual awareness, and physical awareness.
So how did that feel?
It was much calmer. Yeah. I still felt excited and engaged, but just not quite as frantic.
Right, not frenetic energy. Right. Now, the interesting thing is with your voice, when you did your first take, you actually, your throat had so much tension that the air could not move through it. So have you ever heard a balloon that you've got air in and then you kind of squeeze the neck and it's a constrained kind of sound? So that was your physical, vocal, and spiritual energy in take 1. When you go watch the footage, you're going to see it. Right. Now you can imagine everything that we're going to do today. What would happen if you just took that one exercise and actually practiced that purposefully just once a day? Right? 30-second exercise. Now, the thing is, we have to create what's called muscle memory so that you don't have to think about it when you perform. But you're in a performance setting, and it took 30 seconds to make a shift that's profound. Right? That taps you into the energy of you. So what is that river? The river is what is already there. What's already in existence. And so by simply the sheer act of releasing and letting go, we're now in an optimal space to start performing from. So we think performance is ramping up. No, it's preparation. We build in a certain way. But the moment of performance is actually about letting go.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. And for me, preparation, proper prior planning prevents poor performance, right? We have all of those little mantras. And so the mind starts getting, did you prepare? Are you ready? Is things working? Are that, all of these things that just get the energy jacked up again. And yet, again, connecting, guys, we talk about that a lot, connecting and learning. Those facts are knowledge, but experience connected with knowledge gives you wisdom. And so connecting that mindfulness that I try to practice every night before I go to bed so my brain can shut down, to think about that in everything you do. 30 seconds.
Right. 30 seconds. And so that's at the end of the day, though.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about is doing it.
Yeah. All the time.
Right. Because before every conversation, I want you to imagine this picture. You've got a painting. It's a beautiful painting. Okay. You are the painting. You got a picture.
Yes.
Now you go into one communication setting. Great. I've got this picture. And then all of a sudden you've got all that's going on in your mind about everything you prepared and everything you thought and la 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 la. Well, guess what? You just splattered paint all over that picture. Great. Oh, that conversation is over. Now you're zooming, to the next meeting. And now you're trying to paint a whole other picture on top of a context that's already existing. So by the end of the day, I want you to think about your physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental energy.
Yeah.
So now, instead of being low and grounded and that being that river from conversation to conversation, you're kind of amped up. You're like the balloon, just really, really tight. So for me, that is, if you could make that shift, I would bet you start having a reduction in vocal pain.
Yes.
So to your point, I want you to just realize, I've skipped ahead here to a particular slide. So we perform how we prepare. And I learned this the hard way as a pianist that was training to be a concert pianist. I don't believe in practice makes perfect because actually mindful practice makes for excellent performance. Okay? So if we're not training the way that we want to perform, we're not going to make that leap. Okay. So most people try to do 4 stages all at the same time and skip a few. One, we have to analyze. So I know that's where your whole preparation, right?
Type
analysis. Yeah.
Yes.
But you got to shut that off when you go to phase 2, which is now I've got to build. What am I going to build? It's a performance. It's a communication. It's a strategy. Okay. Well, phase 2 building, great. Now I'm going to shut that down. I've got to transition to practice. And practice doesn't just mean let me run from the beginning to the end. The exercise we did with you is a key form of practice. It's clear. Once Laurel relaxed, I don't know if you noticed as we were going, all of a sudden her body and her voice and her mind got aligned and connected. You want to be there before you start. So that's what we call a mindful beginning. So by simply practicing that, that's one practice tool. It's not the only practice tool. There are many. Okay, so we figure out what practice tool we need in order to build foundation, but then we also have to rehearse in ways that allow our performance to come through cohesively in an integrated way. So we have to bounce back and forth between foundational work and performance work, and the two are not the same. Okay, and the final stage, you got to shut practice off when you go to perform. You've got to let it go. So last night, Laurel received about 5 different decks as I was rehearsing. Oh, here, this is the final. No, wait, this is the final. Wait, this is the final. I swear, this is it. Right. And then in the last one, I was like, okay, I'm driving us both nuts. I am hereby releasing this. I am trusting what's there.
Yes.
And I'm going to I jumped in the river last night.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. And I've learned the hard way. That's the time to do the jumping. Yes. And then a little tiny jump. Right. A little backstroke. Okay.
Exactly.
So basically, optimal performance comes from visiting each of those phases separately, but learning to connect them and trust the work that you did in the previous step.
Right.
So one full iteration of training ends with the performance, and then post-communication analysis, we start all over again with iteration 2. So that's the agile way that the performance communication company meets the people that we work with.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So quiz, what is performance?
So performance is not practice.
Right. Performance is at the end of the day.
It's at the end of the day. It's the once you have analyzed and then you have built and then you have practiced, performance is letting it go.
Yes. Brava. Love it.
I remembered. had to go back through everything to get there, but I remembered.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's excellent.
Yeah.
Good. So now you're aware.
Now I'm aware.
Now you're going to practice. You're going to not do it several times when you're in, and then you're going to look back and you're like, oh. But eventually you'll catch it in the moment and you'll learn to release in the moment.
Yes.
And eventually, if you keep doing the little exercise and being aware, what progress looks like is all of a sudden you're just doing it.
Yes.
But the all of a sudden was a process to get there.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay.
Absolutely.
Cool. We've got more work to do on this, okay? So many of you may have done an exercise of breathing and then going into an Om. There's actually many different kinds of breathing exercises. This is one. So in this iteration, your feet need to be planted on the floor. So at home, sit in a chair, be comfortable, your hands on your lap. And basically, we're going to take our thumb and plug up one nostril, and you're going to breathe deeply, like a hair-raising breath, right? And you should feel it. You should feel yourself inflate in what we call the power belt area, your diaphragm, your lungs, your intercostal muscles. And basically, that airflow is going to come up, and almost like a question mark, it's going to come up from the lower operating system into your mental operating system there. And then you're going to exhale through that open nostril, like you're blowing your nose. Okay, so like, okay. And then after you finish that side, you're going to flip over to the other side. You're going to plug the nostril with your pinky. And your head is going to just be tilted back a little bit. Your eyes are going to be closed. At home, I'd want you to do this for a couple of minutes. Here, we're going to do it for like 15 to 20 seconds, okay?
Here we go.
After that, I'm not going to talk because I want you to go from that quiet state into that Om. You're going to put one hand on your heart. Staying in that space, you're going to come up higher. And you're going to actually sing on one tone, Om. But I want you to feel how that airflow and vibration is moving through your body. And how even though your mind may be a storm all around you, you are focused energy in that moment. That's what you're practicing with this exercise. You ready?
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to do it with you, okay? So here we go, everybody at home. Okay. You've got your nostril plug?
I do.
Close your eyes, please, and here we go. Your eyes closed. At home, you would continue this till you're just in an absolute quiet at the foot of the river. For now, let's put our hands on our hearts. I'll do one, and then you'll join in the next one. Okay. Now I'm going to drop off. Laurel, I want you to find your tone of Om. Now take a good breath and fully release all your energy with that Om. Excellent. I'm going to have you open your eyes a second. That was awesome. today's world keeps us quiet.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do something totally uncharacteristic, okay?
Okay.
I want you to shout. I want you to let out whatever frustration there is from all of COVID and life and everything that's been built up that you've had to keep under you've had to put the lid on the lobsters that are boiling.
Yes.
Right? So we're going to just let out a loud Right. Now from here. Okay. At home, go outside. Let out the frustration. Come back in, nose breathe. Let's get back into Om. Now let out that energy through your Om. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be pretty, but it does have to be free. And it has to be you.
Yeah.
Go ahead and try it one more time.
The Om or the scream?
The scream and the Om. Have at it.
Oh!
Okay, now.
I
love it. Another visualization. You are the ocean. You are a huge wave that crested, and it's now moving into shore. By the time you're on that M, it's trailing there, but the water, the motion, the momentum never stops.
Yeah.
Don't hold it back. Let it flow.
Oh, I love that.
Please try one more time. You are the water. I love that. So did you feel the alignment that was happening for you there?
Very much.
You've gotten to the discovery moment, the aha moment, right?
Yes.
And so now you've got tools to practice, several tools. Some are visualization, some are actually physical, but you actually want to do this breathing in Om daily. I do this every morning, actually. So we want to train ourselves, not just for the sake of communication performance. We want to exist from here because at the end of the day, we speak energy before we ever speak a word.
Absolutely.
Words just simply help us to put a picture to it, but the connection happens subliminally and heart to heart before your words ever go out of your body.
And I have to tell you, as I was doing the Om, guys, I think the first time I was like, oh, hold your stomach in, you're on camera, right? But then listening and really visualizing and that whole idea of the ocean and the water still moving, I even felt my shoulders relax the next time because I have to carry my tension here. I really felt my shoulders relax, just really sitting into it. So go practice.
I love it. And I've done something terrible, which is take someone at the performance communication moment and say, scream on camera. So I want to thank you for your bravery and your courage, because that's not easy to do in front of your audience.
No.
Because we have these, I don't want to say masks. Laurel is about as authentic as you can be, but it doesn't matter. We have these pictures in our head. In fact, when I recorded Oh Holy Night, I was like, guys, we can't use this. And then Shafiq, my online partner, was putting the story. I was like, Shafiq, can't you put a black filter over my, nobody needs to see me. So it doesn't matter how long you've been working. There's always more to release and let go.
Absolutely.
There's more to just let go. And we're always, it is the ever-evolving story of our human condition, of learning to be a spiritual being in a human body, bring that into alignment so that our words that we speak life.
Absolutely.
We speak life.
Absolutely.
So you ready to tackle problem 2?
Yes.
Número 2, mechanical and output issues.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to look at your airflow first, okay? And then your throat. Actually, I lied. We're going to look at your throat first.
Okay.
We're going to open up the whole throat passageway. So I need you to shift gears. That was totally kind of visualization, spiritual stuff, and bringing that into alignment. We need to work technically now. So just like you have a piano that's built, like somebody put the wood together, somebody put the soundboard together, the strings, so it could work as a beautiful feat of engineering.
Yeah.
Right? We have to do the same with our body. Though you have a voice, we have to align it.
Okay.
So I want you to think for a moment about a cathedral. Have you ever been in a cathedral?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how does sound and energy move in a cathedral.
It's so wide open. And you hear echo and you hear just this resonance that's incredible. You guys know I love music. So it's just that sound in a cathedral is amazing.
Okay.
Amazing.
Love it. So before you answer the question, audience, grab a pen and a paper. What's one word that you would use to describe what Laurel just mentioned? Take a couple seconds and then I want you to come give us your word. Okay?
My word is resonant.
Resonant. Okay.
Yeah.
So can you have resonance if you have constraint?
Absolutely not.
So if you have a runner and the runner is thinking about running, can the runner actually be free in their body to run?
No.
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 And the singing bowls. We talked about the singing bowls.
Oh, yeah.
So have you ever held one and tried to do it when you couldn't concentrate? And it's like you couldn't get the right pressure on the little baton.
Yes.
Right? So out of frustration, then you just start beating it. It works that way too.
It does. Singing bowls, guys, I highly recommend the Tibetan singing bowls.
Yeah, right there. When you were laughing, did you feel how your voice and your energy just flew out? So if you were to speak that way, it doesn't mean you have to be loud. The word I would choose is freedom.
Ah, yes.
And letting go, right?
Yeah.
It's freedom.
Yeah.
We work on freeing things so we can be the most resonant.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So we need to get our throats to do that. Okay. This is a totally weird stretch. If you've done yoga, this is the lion stretch, okay? But it's awesome. You're going to basically yawn, but you're going to stretch your tongue out down to the floor at the same time as you yawn. Why? Because I don't want your tongue to retract and then to press down on your larynx. We don't want that.
Okay.
So that's why you got to learn to stretch. And you're basically learning to expand the throat, the soft palate, which in the cartoons you would have seen the little thing that they kind of punch. That's the uvula, right? It's actually a very soft, fleshy piece of muscle that can actually lift and do this. And as singers, we have to learn to lift our soft palate and to expand. So you become almost like an empty drum.
Okay.
So that your airflow can move up and through, but we need that airflow to move through here so we can pull our sound forward.
Gotcha.
Okay? So here's how it looks. I'm going to show you, and then you're going to show the camera, right? So, and you can't hold your breath. Okay. It's kind of like when you go to the doctor so they can check your throat.
Oh, yeah.
And they stick the little spatula tongue depressor.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Ready?
So.
Yeah, I'm going to just look in your throat. Okay, yay. Okay, good. Now, can you breathe? So you got to hold it. You got to, don't hold your breath.
You want me to breathe too?
Yeah, don't hold your breath and hold that, and excuse me, you're going to hold the stretch for 20 seconds, but you also need to breathe.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Okay.
Ready? Here we go.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, and yawn 4, 5. I need the yawn 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. 11, 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. You want to know something really interesting? I love that you did it. So I have to keep congratulating you because doing this on camera is not fun. Okay?
I figure, you guys, it is what it is.
She's making a sacrifice. She's taking one for the team. Right? Okay. So when you actually take your air in, your soft palate completely drops and your throat closes. So you're going to practice this. Actually, you have a mirror, right?
I do.
Can you grab your mirror? And I want you to actually look.
Okay.
And you're going to notice that. We're going to do exactly the same thing, but she needs to notice it. So at home, if you have a mirror, grab it and watch what you're doing. Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, and don't forget to breathe. And don't make sound. Just, And do you notice how everything just clamps down? Now notice the tension in the tongue that's starting to come. So at home, you can grab a little paper towel, you can grab your tongue, give it a yank, and then practice getting the throat to stretch. You have a little bit of a tug of war. A lot of tension exists there. Yeah, so you're just going to, so even more. So notice how high up the sides of the tongue are, and the tongue is like depressed like the inside of a spoon. That's your first indication that there's tension in the voice.
So hopefully you guys can see that. So when I...
I don't know if they can see. Yeah, and so notice that the sides of her tongue are super high and that the tongue itself gets really tight and tense. The other thing you can't see very well is when she breathes, the soft palate comes down and the throat constricts. So now if she's trying to grab a quick breath in the middle of her speech, guess what? Not only is your energy amping up because you're going from situation to situation without kind of resetting, but every time you take a breath, you're siphoning off the ability for that energy to exit.
Now, does that change if you're like breathing through, because I tend to be a nose breather and not a mouth breather. So is it because I'm breathing through my nose and not through my mouth?
Actually, and so the interesting thing is when you speak optimally, you should be breathing from your mouth.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you have actually to take your breath in, you basically, I want you to think of a kitchen sponge, right? So the minute you've got water in it and you're squeezing it, and the minute you've squeezed all the water out, you let it go and the sponge just goes poof. That's what happens in your power belt area. So I'm using my air and right now I'm going to get a full tank. Are you ready?
Ready.
Full tank. Split second.
Wow.
Okay, so we're going to learn how to breathe next.
Okay.
Okay? So that step, by the way, in our online program, the Amazing Speaker Series, there's a whole skill that's about what we call vocal engineering. So you have video footage of me doing this, you have the exercises, the gym, and then depending on what track you get, you can actually send your videos in to receive scoring and feedback.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah. Okay?
Yeah.
So, all right, we're going to punch on here.
Okay.
So we've got to learn how to establish what I'd call wind power. So there's two parts to that. We're only going to really have time to get, I've got to adjust myself. Here. I'm kind of falling off. Basically, we're going to deal right now with consistent airflow. Okay. Because we could see for Laurel, one of the key issues is the consistency of that airflow. And a part of what interrupts it is her throat. Yeah. And a part of what interrupts her throat is, first of all, a technical issue. Yeah. Second is energy. Okay. So when we take our breath in, you're going to get fat with air. This area, you can't hold your tummy in. Yeah. Okay? So you got to do the opposite of what Mama taught you. Okay? Right. And so basically you've got to bring in your air from here. Now notice, and you did, I know your grandma was a singer, right? So she has an unfair advantage. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. Now, but do me a favor. Don't breathe through your nose. Just mouth. Yeah. You still breathe through your nose. Clamp your, go ahead. Go ahead. Take your breath in. There we go. See how that's different? Yeah, it is different. I don't even realize I'm doing it. Can you describe the difference?
Actually, it feels deeper when I'm not breathing through my nose. And I didn't realize I was doing a little bit of both. I thought I was doing, I'm not breathing through my nose, but it really was a little bit of both.
We're going to hope and pray that my water bottle doesn't dump down to the ground. Okay. So that was awesome. Yeah. Exactly. So you want to practice having that open throat from step one. Okay. Like right now when I yawned, when I took my air in, there's a nice little yawn. So I'm expanding. So I'm letting go of air and energy, and then I'm expanding when I take air in. Gotcha. And you learn to be really sensitive to say, ooh, I'm amping up. I'm holding on to stuff. Let it go. Right? Yep. Okay, cool. Now, we've got an exercise because you got to practice getting it in. That's one part. Now, notice, we didn't take our air in through our chest. So if you were to do this, that would not be conducive to good, healthy speaking because you're taking your air in from your chest. Your throat was constricted. When you hear your intake of air, your throat is constricted. Right. Okay? So you want to be able to stay low, expand your belly, but no movement should be happening in your chest. Okay? Now, I want you to take your air in the way that we just practiced, not through the nose, and you're going to blow out the birthday candles on your birthday cake. Okay. But I want you to imagine that your birthday cake is actually about 20 feet away from you. Okay. Okay. Quite a distance. Yes. So breathe in from the belly. And then blow out your candles. Through my mouth. Very good. Okay, good. Good. One more. Okay, awesome. This time, yawn in your throat and relax into your breath. Yeah, I didn't do that, y'all. So we can hear the yeah. Right? So do me a favor. Go ahead and plug your nose and keep one hand on your side and go ahead. There we go. Now a quiet breath in, but a full expansion. There we go. Yay. Yeah. That's hard. Yes. Now we got to work on the output of air. Yes. Okay. So I want you to feel something. Okay. Oh yeah. That's now you. Okay. Good. Now breathe the way that I taught you.
Wow, see, so much stuff to think about, y'all.
Plug your nose.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. Let me see. Again. Good. Now make the lips say ooh.
Ooh.
Okay. So you actually have to direct the airflow. Good. Now a nice breath in. Good. Now.
Ooh. Like clearly I'm still trying to breathe in through my nose. Okay.
Very cool. Very good. Now you're going to hate me. We're going to time it.
Okay.
Blow out the air for 8 seconds. You're going to expand for 4, and we're going to repeat that 4 times in a row.
Okay. Expand for 4, out for 8.
Okay, so I'm going to count.
Okay.
Okay, so you're expand 2, 3, 4. Blow 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep going 7, 8. Breathe 2. Ready and blow 2, 3, 4. Good. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yawn. Expand your air and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Expand 2. Last time and blow 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Awesome.
We are now going to practice the breathing exercises standing up.
So you saw the basics of the breathing exercise, but I want to be able to show you with Laurel standing, okay? Because that's really how you should practice. And once you get it standing, then you could bring it into a sitting position. And you really do need to, because we're Zooming all the time, right? And how did Zooming become a verb? Anyway, but so we're going to be doing this exercise with Laurel facing the wall, just because of COVID.
Yeah.
If this were not COVID time, she'd be facing me.
Yeah.
So, okay. So Laurel, if you remember, you're going to expand with air for 4 seconds, and then you're going to blow out the birthday candles for 8.
Okay.
And then we're going to do that 4 times in a row.
Okay.
Now, audience, what I want you to keep your eye on is that we want this here is where, like, you want to put your hand, okay, so that you can feel that expansion. And remember, you're going to get, I hate to say it this way, we get fat with air. You got to let your belly out. And then as you're blowing your air out, you can practice something that you learned in the exercise, which was push your belly out when you speak. You can already practice that with just blowing out your candles. Okay? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, breathe in, 2, here we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe 2, ready, and blow 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe 2, ready, and blow 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe 2 last time, and blow 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Brava, good, good, good. Now, notice that you start out pretty well on 1, but by about second number 4, man, the ship is going down like the Titanic. It's just like, right?
Yes.
So our next improvement would be that you could keep that ship top side for all 8 seconds.
All 8. Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Breathe 2, ready, and blow 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe 2, ready, and blow 2, 3, 4. Good. 5, 6, 7, 8. Fully expand. 2, ready, and blow. That was a good one. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Expand. 2, last time, and 2. There we go. Did you feel that? The last one, you got it. How did that feel different? Can you describe it?
You know, what was different about that one, you got it. I'm always in my head, so I was trying to move from my head to awareness of the physical, which I'm pretty good at too. My trainer says I am. To really think about expanding when I breathe, but also pushing out as I blow out. And so because I had to think about it in steps, I wasn't able, and I was focusing on the physical, I wasn't able to think backwards. I had to think in the moment and had to feel in the moment. So I tried to turn my brain off and just feel, yes, my belly is expanding, and trying to think about the fact that I'm trying to not let my belly expand. Yes, my belly is expanding, but then as I'm breathing out, the muscles are still taut, even though I'm pushing the air out. It's just fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
All right. So now you saw how this exercise really should be practiced at home. First, you got to get it standing up. And then once you get it pretty well, and practice in front of a mirror, by the way, so that you can see yourself, go ahead and then practice doing it sitting down. Because right now during COVID, everybody's doing a lot of speaking, sitting.
Yes.
So you need to get that down so you're also not shouting. So by the way, I also realized because you didn't have a headset on, it's about projecting the voice. But that's a lesson for another day.
Yes.
So, how does that feel?
So it got easier at the end. But here's what's interesting. I remember when we talk about breathing, because we had a band director named Mr. Hunt, who used to say, diaphragmatic breathing, and so his stomach would, and he was about this big, and his stomach would push out, and we were all like, oh, that's so cool.
Kind of like the throat of a frog.
Exactly. And I know that my mother has said to me, why is your stomach going up and down when you breathe? So I noticed that when I'm just relaxed or just at night, I tend to breathe down here and not breathe up here. But when I'm speaking, it's all up here.
Oh, I'd wager throughout your whole day, it's all up here.
Probably.
Yeah. And a great model to watch, if you got a baby nearby, one that can sit on the floor, like about one, watch what happens before they cry. Their mouth opens, you can see in their mouth, and you're waiting for it.
It's coming, right?
So that's the perfect model right there. Okay. Moshe Feldenkrais, actually, Feldenkrais Method, it's very postural therapy.
Okay.
He went back and studied how did babies move prior to any injury and all kind of consciousness.
Right.
Phenomenal technique. It's similar to like the Alexander technique. I studied Feldenkrais. Okay. So anyhow, this exercise is phenomenal. Now I want you to notice, do you have time to think about that when you're in your communication? No. So this is we analyzed, we built, we're at the practice stage.
Yeah.
But you have daily practice. So I will tell you, let's calculate how much time it would take to do one set.
Okay.
So you've got 12 seconds.
Okay.
4 times in a row, that's 48 seconds. You're going to analyze 15 seconds.
Okay.
And repeat. For you to do 4 sets in a row, that's 5 minutes of practice a day.
That's it.
That's it. Now, the cool thing is, do you notice how it builds on that quiet space you gained from the first set of exercises? So you notice how you're building yourself as an instrument from that heart space operating system, and that is what you're training in. So we folded in a lot of different thinking that is very powerful and that are key tools, but we've created an integrated approach.
I love
where over time you build yourself as the instrument, but it's automated within you. And that's a part of why we're able to create sustainable change.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Wow, it does. It does. Practice. 5 minutes. We waste 5 minutes a day.
Right. It's actually, I will tell you, schedule it in. So far, we're at 5 minutes for this exercise. You've got the little visualization one, which if you did that 30 seconds, basically, if you carved out 10 minutes a day for this foundational work, you'd be good.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're going to march on.
Okay.
We're pushing on. So now, we've talked about how we've got to open up the throat. We've got to get the airflow moving. On a different day, we'll have to talk about constant air pressure.
Yes.
But now it's about how do I find the optimal vocal placement? So I want you to think back to the Italian bel canto masters, basically in opera. As opera started to develop and orchestras and spaces people needed to sing and perform in, there needed to be a way for the voice to be able to project great distances and cut through the sound texture of an orchestra, but you didn't have an amplification system. So how are you going to do that? The human body is amazing. And so these masters, by the way, Stradivarius was the master that built the most optimal engineering in a violin ever. And they have not been able to reverse engineer what he did perfectly. I believe he listened to the trees. I really think he did. He could just sense that. And anyway, so we see from the Italians an amazing tradition of instrument building, and that doesn't stop with physical instruments like the violin or the cello or the piano. it also includes the human body and the voice.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they talk a lot about the mask, right? And what is the mask? If you think of this triangular area here, basically what we're trying to do is take our consistent airflow and our open throat and bring each the thread of breath through each sound seamlessly.
Okay.
Okay. But we want to do it in a way where the sound is resonant and refracting off of our sinus cavity, which acts as a natural speaker system to naturally amplify the sound. That's the technical speak.
I'm loving, y'all know I'm a type A, right? I'm loving this. Lifelong learner. This is so awesome.
Is it? It's cool. I think it's cool.
It's so
That's
cool.
why I was like, the voice is the coolest instrument.
Absolutely.
My primary instrument and the love of my life is the piano.
Yes.
Just really. But as from the perspective of the dynamic nature of what we do as communicators, we first communicate from spirit, but then we communicate through voice and sound.
Yes.
To make connections. It's a beautiful symphony. I love the whole subject matter.
Yes.
Anyway, exercise. Yeah. First thing we're going to do, some of our, from the golden age of singing, would talk about how humming is the sunshine of the voice. Okay. So you're going to hum. So we're going to go, Right, did you feel all of that?
I did.
Right? Okay, now, gently. There we go. And I love that you did it in your range. You know the gorgeous thing about the voice? It's your unique thumbprint. There will never be another human voice made naturally.
Right.
That is your voice.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
And the spirit behind it that activates that, there will never be another. So I want you to think about that. I want you to hum again.
Okay.
And just love that humming from that centered position and feel it, just like we did with Elm.
Let me do that again.
Oh, I love that. Now, could you go a little higher, like you're on the playground as a kid? Let your inner child out. Yes. And just go down the slide and have fun with it. Notice how you're holding your breath. I love that. Good catches. Awesome, Laurel. Very good. Now. There we go. Now, do you feel how first you had to be at the river?
Yeah.
Then you expanded your airflow, you relaxed your throat, and now you're just working on pulling the sound thread through. Welcome to another tool.
Right.
Another exercise, right? Okay, for the sake of time, we're going to march on.
Okay.
Now I want you to do mingi. I want you to speak through the M, and then I want you to speak through the NG. And then use those to kind of move the sound forward with your vowels.
Okay. I'm trying to remember what you said. So see.
And that's why you practice each step enough, because naturally, if you practice each step enough, what you're going to find is they all fold in together and integrate naturally without even having to think about it.
Okay.
It's a lot in 30 minutes.
Right. Mingy.
Very good. Now, mingy, 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 mingy.
Mingy, 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 mingy.
Good. Awesome. Now you have a much deeper, richer voice than me, so I need you to do it in your range, which I can't even hum down there. And it's gorgeous.
Mingy, 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 mingy.
That was awesome. Now, put your hand on your belly, and I want you to kind of push the belly muscles out while you speak. Go ahead.
Mingy, 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 mingy.
Awesome. That's called support. That's the constant air pressure.
Okay, so guys, perspective. That pushing your belly out with support. Logically, we think pulling it in is support. Because, right, you pull, especially women, we pull in our stomachs, we pull in, it helps your posture, you're supporting your back. Never would have thought that support would be actually pushing it out. See, you learned something.
Isn't it fun how there's duality, and it's always the flip side of duality that's the entrance to freedom?
Yeah. Did y'all catch that? Gold right there. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You did an amazing job.
Oh.
That was awesome. Now, can you imagine what that would be if you practiced each step that we've done daily?
Yeah.
Not for 1 month, for 3 months. Okay?
Yeah.
That's why we say you're building an instrument. We can create incremental step changes that are sustainable.
Right.
But what you see is with that continued practice, just like we do in the fine arts, that's where you start to scale up performance that's actually sustainable. But at the same time that we're building the voice, you're flipping the operating system.
Yeah.
Where optimal performance in communication comes from. Because where do we listen beyond conscious bias?
Right.
We have to be communicating from here so we can access heart-to-heart connection, find the sameness. So there's a lot of paradigms that we're working on, no matter we could say the rabbit hole that we're focused on, whether it's strategic communication or vocal delivery or masterful delivery, or how you pull that together inside of strategy. You're building each piece along the way. You're just doing it from different angles, right?
This is so incredible, y'all. I just feel so much more relaxed and so
love it. I
like
love
in
it.
the moment. Yeah.
That's good. And you are. How do you feel in your throat?
Actually, my throat doesn't hurt.
Okay.
I'm like really excited. My throat doesn't hurt and I feel more grounded, and I'm going to have to get some tighter spanks so I can push my stomach out and be supported, but still, look svelte, because that's what we like to do. So,
the question is, do you feel more like the inner you?
I do.
Showing up.
I do. It feels, it very much feels connected.
Good.
Very much feels connected.
You're an awesome student.
Yeah.
You're just
thank
amazing.
you.
Amazing.
I'm going to be taking some more lessons.
Final point, and I know we've got to march on, so forgive me for,
Absolutely.
just want to make sure. We skipped one of the things on the last slide. That's okay. Basically, there's one point on the why am I speaking so fast slide that's really important for you. Okay.
Yes.
So Laurel is a brilliant mind. I mean, there's just that she is. God love you.
Thank you.
So this is a woman that's capable of thinking about a lot of things at the same time and can execute in a focused way, which is incredible. However, the pace that your thinking happens at is extremely fast.
Yeah.
I want to tell y'all, your speech, the sound of your speech will never match the pace of your thoughts. And there's a huge time conversation. Your thoughts will always be in the future of the sound of your voice. And by the way, your audience, by the time they hear the sound of your voice and process through all the steps of the reception process, they are in your extreme past of your thoughts.
Yes.
So if you don't learn to stop, release, let go, guess where connection is happening?
Yeah. It's not.
No, connection happens in the pause. And actually, it's pretty amazing as you learn to be comfortable with silence and letting things go. You can actually see on people's faces, at least when you're in person, when they're ready for more.
Yes. We talked about practicing the pause, guys. That's one of the big pieces around power. There's power in the pause.
There is.
And this is another reason why.
Exactly. Well, guess where the most beautiful place in every piece of music is?
Oh, yeah, the pause.
The rests.
Yeah.
Right, because we can actually be with it. It's the one place where all those paradigms of time that we exist in have a chance to come together.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
And so that's really all I think we have time for. But I think we at least touched a little bit on each thing. But you're an amazing student. I loved working with you. Yeah.
This was so incredible. Guys, I highly encourage you, number one, continue to be aware. And if something isn't feeling right, if something isn't sitting well with your spirit, with your mind, with your body, don't just blow that off. And again, especially women, we have a tendency to just believe, I'll get over it. It's something else is going on. It's okay. Sit with that a minute and understand what it is and see if you can address it. Second, find an expert. It's important to find an expert. That's why people have coaches, even some of the most incredible people. I would guess that even Mark Cuban has people that he goes to coach him on business.
Yeah.
So find an expert. Asking for help from an expert is not a sign of weakness, and it is not a sign that you're not smart or not capable. In fact, it's the exact opposite. Experts know when to go seek experts.
Yeah.
And so I feel so much better and so much more grounded. And of course, I learned something really cool is that support is actually pushing your belly out instead of pulling it in, which I love that kind of stuff. So I am so thankful, Mariam. I'm so thankful that you did this with me.
Thank you so much.
It was awesome. And so we're going to cut to a surprise for all of you. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, but you're going to see why I love working with this person. We'll be right back. That was just amazing. Just absolutely amazing. And I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. It's one of my most favorite songs for this time of year. And I wanted to share that with you and share the gift of my dear friend Mariam with you. Mariam, I just really believe that people come into our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And I believe that this connection is going to be a lifetime, even though we're in this very interesting season. So thank you for being a part of the Rutledge Perspective. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for allowing me to be. Yeah. And for, it takes a lot of courage to do this in a private session, not on camera. So the phrase I should say, fearless leader comes to mind. I mean, you were willing to let it all hang out so that you could fix it and also be an example so others at home could start to work on that. And absolutely. And I appreciate all of the heart and the soul that you put into what you do. Thank you. I know it's going to be a lifetime connection. It is. I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you all for tuning in to the Rutledge Perspective. I really appreciate it when you're here. Please definitely send me comments. If there's other things you want to talk about, let me know. Because I'd love to do that for you. And again, we will have the notes so that you will be able to get all the information that you need on Mariam. And just an FYI, we were masked up and we have been COVID safe. So we are good. We want to make sure people know that we've been tested and all that good stuff. So we are being safe in this time of COVID. So have a wonderful holiday season. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.
Happy holidays.
You've been watching The Rutledge Perspective. Thank you for tuning in. If we have given you a different perspective, or if you've learned something new that you hadn't thought about before, please subscribe to the Rutledge Perspective podcast where you get your favorite podcasts, and give us a like on iTunes or Google Play or Stitcher. We really appreciate it. And your feedback is important as well, as we use that to inform our next episodes. You can also head over to my website, laurelrutledge.com, and download a freebie called Where's My Mojo that can really help you get out of your rut or maybe talk you back off that ledge of frustration. You can also find previous episodes of the Rutledge Perspective on laurelrutledge.com. I really appreciate your tuning in. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.